All right, everybody. I am live, I hope. I think I seen somebody that was in there. Kathy? Hello, Kathy. Can you hear me okay? Lori, can you hear me? Oh, great. Okay. I was worried. I didn't know. I had different items I wanted to go over today. And part of it had to do with I happened to look at some other live streams or channels in the last day or so. And one thing I need to do, I got to see if any of the mods came in. I want to make sure we don't get too many people in here starting some kind of a cat fight. I see, let's see who we got here. Looks like Kathy, Lori, Keith, my mama. It says, looks like you're preparing for dinner. Okay. Uncle Mo, hi, Ray. Lori, yes, I can. George Lowe, how you doing? Let's see. TT Shauna Thompson. Oh, from England. Okay. Colin Thompson. Okay. Let's see. Brenda Meredith. Amber Lynn. Okay. Donna Hawkins. Cheryl. Yeah, let's see. Kim. Joe. Where are the beers? Crack one for America. Okay. Kim Gorzek. I hope I pronounced that right. Terry. Amber Lim. Robert Clark. Glenda Braun. Trigger Andy. Bill, you're from watching from Scotland. Welcome aboard. TT Shauna. I like your feistiness lately. I have to watch getting too feisty. I don't want to end up with a heart attack or something. You have to be careful in this day and age not to take things too serious. I know that lately I've gotten a little serious because, well, quite frankly, haven't taken up the fight for John and Michelle. It's been at times kind of a back and forth type deal where you think you're getting somewhere and then all of a sudden something happens to knock you down a little bit or whatever. But it looks like in the last couple of weeks at least, things are starting to gather around a little bit. And more things are coming to light. And it's not that I like to see anybody get hurt in any kind of a dispute. What I like to see is the fairness and that our constitutional rights aren't trespassed on by people that just because they have a few bucks in their pocket and the charisma of a large following. And, you know, a lot of small channels like mine out there, sometimes we wear our hearts on our sleeve And a lot of people think that because we're like that, we're easy to knock off our pedestal or whatever. But most of us are pretty determined. So let's see. Let me get back on here and see who all showed up. Snivels, I see you're on there. Hi. Lori J. Amen, Ray. Yeah. Oh, Scooter, glad to hear you breathing better. Well, Scooter, I'm glad to see you on there. Obviously, I follow your advice from time to time. I do see you on my channel a lot, and I see you on other places too. One thing you guys know that most of the time when I leave something up, an opinion that is absolutely opposite of mine, I don't mind doing that as long as somebody don't try to rub it in my face and keep repeating themselves over and over and over. I think once somebody puts their opinion down, if it is opposite and they're not mean about it, it's not a big deal. People can answer to it or play with it a little bit. It's just that I don't want to see a dog fight or a cat fight go over something like that. My biggest thing is things can get solved, and some of it will have to be in a court. But I don't believe in vigilantism because it gets carried away. And what I've seen in this Otter Creek thing, what shouldn't have ever got past anything other than neighbor dispute got real big real quick. And, I happened to see a young man out there, and he handled a dispute, I thought, admirably. And that's young Thomas Collins. He was over to pick up an old car there in Otter Creek, and the neighbor, for whatever reason, there was a dispute going, and Thomas had a rock thrown at him and some paint, and the officers were called, not by Thomas, but by another gentleman there that had the property next door. And when it was all said and done, Thomas posted it, but it was settled in a manner that it didn't have to go viral around the world. And the day may come where the two may shake hands if they want. They knew each other for a number of years. It wasn't something other than just it was a dispute because of it sounded like one the one that was taken to jail may have been high on something. He clearly was not of his own mind. And then another person picked up the dispute and tried to make it into a great big deal about brutality. And I thought, here we had police that were acting in the best behalf of all concerned at the time, in that same attitude of people that said that they weren't doing anything, that they wouldn't respond out there, all of a sudden turned against the cops that were responding and thought they used too much force. These people had handled this particular guy before. This thing was handled very quickly. The guy wasn't bleeding out or something like a big, after a big hunt. He was taken to the ground. Enough force was used on him so he wouldn't try to use force back. He was taken to jail and charged. And nobody had to go out there and make any bigger deal than that. And yet, somebody come along and wanted to make it bigger and put it on a whole bunch of channels about the dispute of an officer using too much force. And to me, I looked at it and I thought, that's typical of bullshit reporting. To me, that's what I figured. I know some of you will have a chip on your shoulder over police, but that's just the way it is. They have to use enough force so that somebody doesn't try to use more on them. And they're there for our protection. And that's what they were there for that day. And yet another person grabbed this thing off the internet and decided to make a big deal out of it. Shows you the mentality of the people. So there you go. And by the way, that particular person felt that they couldn't get things out of that department to help them out there in the first place of other at other times when they were in a dispute with, and I'll give you an example, when they were in a dispute with John and Michelle. So that, I mean, that's just giving you a piece of what I was looking at over all this time and wondering, is the tables ever going to change? Well, people actually look at things and understand it. Okay. Oh. How is there? I guess I was looking over, I'm trying to uh, look over a little bit. Hey there, bearded fisherman. I'm glad to see you. Let's see. Is there anybody in here that has been a mod for either Lisa or myself? I'm going to talk a little bit about PBR today. He had put a video up yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. Bearded fishermen, they are there for the prisoners' protection, the officers when they come out there. So he doesn't get hurt or hurt himself. And it was very clear that that it was done. I thought it was done well within the means of what was needed to put this thing to bed quickly. So, all right, I'm still going to have to look and see if I got a mod up there. I don't see anybody that's been a mod for me before. And I have to be a little careful because I don't want to put somebody up there that's going to run too many off. I just want them to keep people from fighting with each other. That's my big thing. And then we'll get on with this deal here. Says Uncle Mo, just message Lisa or Tori. I'm not sure how to do it when I'm on here already, Mo. Have you ever tried to be a mod, Uncle Mo? Do you want to give it a try? Okay. Go see if you can get Lisa or somebody to come on down. Scooter, I know where you saw my comment to Thomas about free advertising. I'm not sure if I saw it or not. It's been a while. Honest Abe, I see you're on there. Oh, where are we going here? Okay, let me go on here. I don't see anything on there that's scary right now as far as fighting. If it starts getting into a tizzy, just for the heck of it for me so that I can slow it down, just put a bunch of ones up there and that'll draw my attention over there so that I can, I'll pull it down a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and just name somebody to take care of the problems. One thing I wanted to talk about was PBR. Psycho Babble Rap is what his name is on there for his channel. And he was live yesterday about the same time that the two Leaves in a Pod was on. And he was talking about, he used to know Jeremy back before he became, I guess you could say, famous in the tube or in the locker world of buying and selling and going up the ladder. And he had talked about way back, he'd got some film of Jeremy setting up lockers with boxes that he brought in there. And then a few days later, opening the boxes as if it was a surprise, and the big finds that he was finding in there. Now, everybody knows that when you go and watch these people, there are times that it's very convenient. So when you go in there and all of a sudden you see these thousands of dollars worth of stuff on there, you know that there's a setup. And in fact, if way back when they had those storage wars, good old Dave, the one used to say, yep. He actually sued them guys for a setup. That would have been probably similar to that, where the locker was set up ahead of time, and apparently somebody knew what it was going to be and therefore bid accordingly. The word apparently had got out. Dave won his lawsuit. So setting something up like this is unfair to people like you and I, if we're watching stuff like that. And it's interesting and it's fun, and it does keep things going when you see these prizes coming up. Hi, Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer W. All right. Hopefully Lisa will come along and help me out. Okay. All right. Thanks, Uncle Mo. Anyway, let's get back to this. Like I say, just throw a bunch of ones up there if a fight starts. As long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. Pebs, I see you in there. Pebs, I got a question for you. Have you ever worked as a moderator? Now, let me get on with what I'm doing here. Anyway, PBR, he's pretty good about whatever he's going to put on his channel. And he's to the point. He doesn't waste a lot of BS trying to sugarcoat the dog turd. He just tells you what it is. He uses appropriate language when he's telling you the story. He's been off for a while. And if you get a chance to go over and look at what he put up yesterday, I think you're going to find it very interesting. Like I say, he knew Jeremy from way before, and he did talk about that text between George and Jeremy, from back in, I think it was May, that was on Two Leaves in a Pod on their show, that shows what type of language this guy uses, the way he talked to his significant other. Apparently, this has been going on quite a while, this love-hate relationship between the two of them. And, when you look at that whole thing and you look at the way he treats people that he's been around, I mean, this goes back quite a ways, and PBR can probably tell you more about it than I can, as the people that have been left behind. I've told you that it's like a field that was never planted, where they get out there and destroy the sod with the plow and never go back to sow anything. They just leave it raw and let the wind blow the good black dirt away. That seems to be a trail that's left behind him. And when I talk about it, I'm talking about this poor old woman that had a warehouse that he had his stuff in, and the big lawsuit that was going on at that time. Of course, obviously now the woman would not be able to defend herself if she was around, but he ended up having to drop the lawsuit for whatever reasons, and it's over and done with. But what I'd like to know is there's destruction behind him. Everybody thinks that this guy is such a good guy. He does so much good. and the walls are closing in on him. The ditch is falling in on him. He dug down too damn deep now, and I don't know if he can control what's coming down on him. He uh, he 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 brought it to himself. And all you guys that have followed this thing, you don't have to kiss somebody's butt like that. You know, it's not always what you think with people. They can fool you. You just have to be careful. And if you made a mistake in following somebody that you shouldn't, say so and go ahead and change your ways. You know, when I looked at this a long time ago, and his own subs told me to look at his background. And I seen things that were extremely disturbing for me, not necessarily for all of them subs, because quite frankly, a lot of them follow his path because they are like him and he is their leader. Okay. And it's unfortunate there's that many can cling on, and bigger it gets, the more that's coming. But just like a snowball that goes down the side of a mountain, eventually hits the bottom and comes apart. It causes a lot of destruction on the way down. You don't want to be a part of that destruction. Okay. So anyway, here it is. Somebody that knows him from a long time ago. PBR, go over to his channel, check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. The other channel I wanted to talk a little bit about is Two Leaves in a Pod. And on a regular basis, they brought more and more proof of what's going on over there, of what this guy is like, what he's made of. And I'm not bringing this on to be, there you go, Stats is on there. Thank you, Stats. Let's see. It's been a while since I seen you, Stats, but I'm glad you came on today. Thank you very much for jumping in there. Okay, getting back to Two Leaves in a Pod. You know, I've shouted out to them different times, and I back them as much as I can on just about everything. And they're able to do a lot of things that I can't. I don't have the technology to get on here and bring this thing so that I can get more subs. Quite frankly, my channel is actually shrinking rather than getting bigger. And the reason for it is most of my subs came from Larry Foreman, from one of his shows when I was, I had backed him up on a few things, and he pushed his subs into joining up with my channel. A lot of the subs he had at the time were also following Jeremy's channel. So little by little, as I've spoke my piece and I've told you what's in my heart, and I got on here and I started talking about it. And I've lost a lot of those people. Some of them have decided that maybe what I talk about is the real deal, and that maybe I know a little bit about it. Some of the subs didn't want to listen to reason. And I'm sorry that they didn't, because I don't speak out of hate. I speak out of, most of it is experience. And with that experience comes a certain amount of knowledge. And I did just like everybody asked me to do. I looked into the background. Along with that, somebody recommended I look at Two Leaves in a Pod. And I got over there and I was somewhat skeptical at first. I wanted to see what it was all about. And then I found out it was more than fairness. They looked at both sides of the story. They went out and got the written proof, the substance for true truth, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't know how much you can put it. They either bring a witness or they bring the paperwork. The other side won't. And I've asked for paperwork before. When somebody gets on here and starts ranting and raving and telling me, oh, how good this guy is, it's hard for me to listen to some of it sometime. And quite frankly, when I get on there and listen to it, it makes my stomach halfway sick. You know, when it opens up, now listen, I myself, I like to sing, and I sing because I enjoy it. Now, I'm not good enough to make any money out of it in any way or any form. I would not keep an audience entertained very long. They'd probably ask for their money back very quickly. But this guy, he gets on there and starts singing, and he purposely sings poorly. You can tell that he does it on and that is worse than trying. One of the things I can tell you, people that do that sing that way purposely, it's because if they tell you or show you how they really sing, they're a fair singer, but not good enough to be on stage. And he wants everything perfect. And he will never attain that. He doesn't have the ability to do that. And that's why he's such a jerk when he sings like that. And he's certainly not a guitar player. There are certain things you can do with a guitar, and I've played one off and on, in my youth. And my brother is extremely accomplished, or he was. One of my brothers still is pretty good at it. My dad repaired instruments, and all of us kids learned how to play different ones. And we can tell fakes when we see it. Oh my! I shouldn't. I try not to knock somebody down, but when I see how bad it can be, I do that. I have to call it the way I see it, and I'm telling you, that's what I see. And the first thing he does is open up with BS type of woozy, trying to fool. I also noticed something else, and maybe you can too. But when I watch those Sunday lives at around 25 to 26 minutes, he starts losing control. And when he tells a lie, he goes like this. I'm telling you, watch it 25 to 26 minutes. Go back on all his old videos and start looking at them. You're going to see it. His mannerisms change. He does everything he can to keep from showing the tells when he's out there, the body language. And the way he sits back in his chair, he gets way back, and he's thinking about, what am I going to say? He does that when George is on there. Have you ever noticed that? And then all of a sudden, and he's listening to her closely, he catches something wrong, and he'll say something, knocking her down. This has been going on a long time. This guy, he sits back and looks at the world and then comes to an attack. When he comes back up, he's ready to attack full force. His Sunday nights live show that. So from now on, when you go out there, analyze what he's doing. Analyze the body, what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying. When my video got taken down a couple of months ago, it was because I did a parody of interviewing one of his lives. It had to do with him talking about the town of Otter Creek. And he compared him to where he lives. And he said, this is quote, the people have 6 times bigger hearts where he lives rather than Otter Creek. He said that. And then he tried to back down away from it. Now that, most of the stuff I tell you is an opinion. I'm just telling you, this is what I seen on the channel. I seen it. I heard it. He also said that he doesn't believe in collabs. Gee, that's funny. There's a guy named Rob that is an auctioneer that buys and sells lockers. And this guy goes live with him on AA. Is that a collab? I wonder. Now he has had collabs. And he's not around them anymore. And he said that night and started doing some talk about him. Now, everybody that was around him at one time, they're not around him anymore. Go ask him to say something nice about him. You don't have to ask him about saying something bad, because these people, a lot of them are very decent, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to say something bad. They're just that kind of people. Guapo is one that he trained. He's brought up. He never expected that a young man like Guapo would be a better man than him. My opinion is this. Guapo has good sense. He's a businessman, a good one. And he's going to do whatever it takes to get meeting his goals. And he's doing that. And he's trying to do it without stepping on somebody, even his worst enemies. He avoids those people. He was raised the right way by his mother, and he refers to his mother a lot. And I commend her for putting this young man together. And it's obvious that she's there for him whenever he needs somebody to rely on. This young person turned 30 years old. And I'll tell you what, he has the wisdom of somebody twice that age. He's tried not to get wrapped up into this mess. But I'm telling you, he's got some goods. And he fired one off here recently. Now, I'm sure that Jeremy is thinking twice about it now. He's wondering, did I get somebody that I shouldn't have? Now, he acted like he wanted to fight with Guapo. Guapo was laughing because Guapo wasn't scared in the least. Believe me, he would not be somebody to mess with. Guapo is young, and I'm telling you, somebody that has the presence that he does. He's like the quiet guy that sits at the end of the bar, and you go down there and you pick a fight with him, and you're going to get finished in seconds. The quiet guy at the end of the bar is not the guy you want to pick on. Guapo is that quiet guy. Don't. My advice to Jeremy is don't do it. You're going to find yourself on your butt. It will happen someday if you're not careful. You're very lucky. And I realized Guapo told the truth. My opinion is this. When he said that you would sue him if he took a swing at you, I believe that. I really believe that because, well, what the hell? If you have all the money, you can afford lawyers and you're going to do it. And you wanted to do everything you could to ruin this guy. And you figured probably you could get a protection order and he couldn't show up any more auctions. And then he'd be done as a businessman. And he didn't take you up on it. He's out there at the auctions. Matter of fact, he's buying property. He is moving forward faster than you ever thought about it. If I was a betting man on the first one to reach 1 million without having to buy the subs, I'm telling you, I think the day is coming where Guapo is going to grow so quick you won't even be able to see him. And he'll be the real Superman. Oh, yes. Yes. Jeremy, I seen you in your Superman costume. The big S on it. I seen that. Yes, I realize some people want to be the big kid. My opinion is this. Some people never grow up. That's why they act like spoiled brats. That's an opinion of mine. Yeah, they do that. Oh, Guapo, my hat's off to you. And I'm glad you come forward with that little tidbit. It shows people just how this guy treats women. The same guy that gets into it with somebody that's in the roadway and wants him to give him a blowjob. BJ. Yeah, I said it. I'm not swearing. Hey, listen, I see the video. This is no BS. It's out there. Jeremy showed part of it. He didn't show the whole thing, but he showed part of it. A Christian that's available to do that kind of stuff. No, man. Yeah, you would think, hey, listen, his minion said that he was justified in doing that. Whew, man, oh man, oh man. Shows you. Some of these people out there don't have enough brains to understand what they're seeing or hearing. And I've said that so many times. These people that are following this man-child, they have no idea what they're getting into. None. The walls are caving in on this guy. Have you seen what's happened in the last few months? You know, you look out there, Milltown Best, Super Dave. He started in on this thing. He listed a big long list of people that this guy has attacked. You need to go back and look at that list. Go ahead. Talk to Super Dave about it. He can tell you, he can name every single one of those people off that list from memory without a problem at all. He's on that list. Super Dave. Does he have a bone to pick with this guy? Well, he does. He really does. But he doesn't enforce it. He tries to do it as a reporter of a story. He's trying to show you how a young man can take a story, tell it without letting his temper get too far away. He's improved 100% in the last year. Anybody that's followed his channel, It is growing. I looked at the stats on there. This young man is starting to go. And I want to put you towards this guy. Start looking at this guy. You know, when I looked at the two Lees in the pod, and by the way, that's Lisa and Kendra. But Tori Jones is on there, and I want to tell you what, she is the perfect person to be on there because she's tougher than nails. Lisa is tough. You'd make a mistake if you thought she wasn't. And they both are looking for truth, and they're more than willing to look at both sides of anything. And they will listen to everybody that comes to the channel. They're not going to put up with the BS. They're not going to let you take her channel over. Goodness gracious. People come on there and they start spouting stupid things, and the mods grab them off their target practice. Only an idiot would bring their bullshit in on a channel that is trying so hard to do the right thing. These people that came to that channel, apparently, I mean, you're talking over 700,000 followers. Where did they all come from? I never realized there was that many people that you can't get across to. They come on my channel every time I'm on there, and they start telling me the way I should do my life. Don't you realize that I'm 80 years old? I'm too old to find something different. What I am, I am. I've made my peace with the Lord. I'm not going to make my peace with some idiot out there. I'm just telling you, I'm all done with that BS. Okay, let's get to Michelle and John. You know, when I looked at this thing, and I thought, I took a look at the physical aspects that I seen on the videos of that poor property, and the videos of the people that were disheveled or talking not like I do, but they were pushed into a corner. And I warned him. I said, someday these people will get upset. They're going to come out of that corner. You can't corner people. If you make them scared of you, they're going to take care of the problem. Well, I didn't have to worry about that. Here comes a lawyer, a legal ego. Where'd he come from? He ended up on Two Leaves in a pod. Woo! He was able to get a couple more lawyers on board, one in Ohio and one in Florida. And he's taking the federal case. Who is this guy? His name is Metzkin. Bruce. Now you won't recognize him on some of these other channels. They've made parodies, and they've done everything they can to tear this guy down. They tried to unlive him on one of them. He left me. Excuse me, I'm coughing a little bit, man. Anyway, he sent me an email. He said, Ray, he said, you got to check this channel out. He said, you're about to deceased. And I went on there, and he was right. I was done. Somebody killed me off. Oh, Lord. Well, I wouldn't laugh too much if I guess, you know, what have I got to worry about? I mean, what more can you do to me? Huh? You know, one guy, I'm going to tell you something, how hateful it can get. Now, most of you out there in the last, let's say 20 years have learned that you have to be able to get along with people, period. And the shortcomings, one person may not be a shortcoming, it might be just a natural way they are. So the rat boy out there, he gets someone there and he makes a parody about me. Changed my name, I think it to Raylene. He's a genius, you know. But he thinks that if he calls me a queer or gay or trans, that that's going to hurt my feelings. Well, in this day and age, and according to the government, and he may not realize it, but you see, he's from another country. But if a person is queer or gay or trans or asexual, so what? It's their life. Why would you take their life and beat somebody like me up saying that's me? You think that that is going to hurt my feelings? You're using these people, and I say these, I'm talking about a big percentage of our population fits in there somewhere. Okay. LGBTQ plus. Tell me, what's wrong with you? You're going to make a parody and make somebody out that's something that they're not and give them a new name, and you think that that's cute. Oh, I tell you something, rat boy. I don't know how you can talk against that many groups of people and think that they like that. You're using them as a stick against everybody else. You trying to start a fight between myself and the gay community? Well, buddy, it didn't get it done. No. I've got people come on my channel all the time. They're not like me. And I don't hold them against it. And they don't hold me against them. But they may be upset with you for using them to try to start a fight with me. What bullshit is that? Go back to your hole, rat boy. You're a piece of shit. All right. By the way, you may not hear me say too many four-letter words, and shit is one of them. My mother said it a lot, and my grandmother used to get after it all the time. But some people are shitheads. All right, I was starting to get back to, I was talking about John and Michelle here. They were taking a beating, and all good people don't like to see somebody that's down on their luck get picked on. They just don't like it. But for some reason, this one bully was able to get almost 750,000 people on board to help him beat up on these people. And they brought him to a halt. Here you got somebody that turned a junkyard, literally a junkyard. They all admit that that was a junkyard. Now, did you look at the video yesterday that Thomas put up there? Thomas Collins. You got to go to his channel and see it. That is not a junkyard. And like any place out there, you're going to find areas where there's some trash because they will put such trash in a certain area until they can put it up and load it and take it to the dump or dispose of it in some way. Everybody does it. They were talking about him shitting in a bucket. Well, my goodness. The people that came to Jeremy's property, when there was too many of them there, they overloaded the sewer. They had to shit in a bucket. They couldn't shit in the sewer because they don't meet the specifications. They don't work good enough. And yet, John and Michelle have a fairly new system that was put in by authorized people that are certified to put it in. It meets the approval of the state of Florida. And yet, these people talk about them using a bucket. I used one when I was a kid. It was called a chamber pot. We didn't have inside plumbing. Their trailer is bigger than the house I lived in, and there were 6 of us in that small house. Yeah, and I've used that before, but I'm just telling you again in case you forgot. In case you're one of the minions that come over here and want to listen to it a little bit. Yeah. Well, John and Michelle, they have this place. There's this turtle sanctuary. They had it before they came there. Dedicated their life to taking care of turtles. And they have this 5-year-old child. She just had a birthday. She has had medical problems since birth, and they dedicate 24/7 to this child, and they have a doctor's certificate to prove it. What more do you want? I thought there was 27 uh, times that they've been inspected. I just found out last night. Supposedly it's 28. Some other asshole turned them in, and they've got another clean bill of health. How many times does this agency have to go there and waste their time when they should be doing it on people that really need it? 28 times. What the heck is wrong with these people? The stupidity and wasting the public time. Your money and my money is going towards these assholes that are turning somebody in that doesn't need turned in. 28 times. This agency has had to go over there and look at John and Michelle. You think that's right? Did you see that picture of that little girl at the flea market? You telling me something's wrong with her? She speaks fine, although supposedly she doesn't. She does speak fine. She's a cute little girl. She's going to have to relive everything that's happening to her today because these assholes won't leave them alone. They keep going over there. They take pictures of the worst place they can find on that property. Then everybody comes on this channel, my channel included, and tell me what a garbage dump that is. They didn't see it before they started. That place is. Did you look at it? Did you look at what's across the street? Did you look at that dump? All that old crap that's out there that supposedly is for the fun of people? How many kids have you seen over there from Otter Creek? It's only open for people that are minions of the Sutter channel. I don't know how many people I may have chased off today because I'm not happy with the things over there that went on in Otter Creek. You're talking about a small town that people were comfortable in, and they had their tops and their bottoms and all kinds of stuff as far as people. And I explained the other day that whoever's on the bottom is the one that this guy is going to start picking on. Somebody that don't agree with him. I got news for you. I'm sick and tired of having some of his subs come over to my place and start trying to clean my house. They need to start looking at their place. They're a bunch of crap heads. I have an opinion. And my opinion is this. People should leave these two people alone. Actually, three. I mean, you have a child there. They have spent and are spending their lives trying to do something good, and they may not look and talk like you and me, but maybe they don't have time to. Have you ever thought about that? They try to keep this place clean. They try to do the right thing. They can't even go to the damn grocery store without being harassed. They can't walk down the road. John got fined for walking down the road. He got put in jail for 40 days. Florida has a stand your ground law. It don't mean too damn much out there, apparently. He ended up 40 days in jail for trying to stand his ground on his own damn property. He was thrown out for lack of evidence. I wonder why. There again, the child was used as a purpose for saying that he was so damn wrong for defending his property. Somebody come yelling out there at my front door or my property. I don't know what they're saying. You think I'm not going to defend my property? Well, you're full of it. Very much so. Only a fool does things like that. I was going to say only an idiot, but I'd rather say fool because Smart people can act foolishly. They can. I've seen it all. Oh, here. Listen to this. I live on a 39 by 12-foot boat in London, UK. We had no electric hookup, etc., for 25 years. Kids born here now in their 20s feel fit and healthy. You don't need a palace to raise a kid well. Tank girl, you're 100% correct. You don't. What happens is people become judgmental because somebody else tells them to be judgmental. They don't want to judge people on their heart, what they're trying to accomplish, or what they have accomplished. Like I say, John and Michelle took a junkyard, and you seen yesterday that this place has been brought up quite a bit. It didn't happen overnight. All their resources just about have been cut off. Yeah, they used to be dumpster divers. They had permission. They went over there and got some food for the animals. Nothing wrong with that. You know, I worked at a grocery store a lot of years ago, and farmers used to come in and get our stuff before we threw it in the dumpster. We'd give them bread and, whatever we had, perishables from the vegetables, before we threw them into the dumpster. And most of the time we'd call them up and say, hey, if you want to load today, we've got it. Here's what we got. And they'd come in and take it. And we were grateful they did, because we didn't have to pay that extra fee for the weight of the dumpster when they picked them up. You know, it's one hand helping the other hand. You know, and that years ago, it used to happen all the time. And yet we had an asshole, okay, go to that store and tell them what was going on. Yeah. I guess they thought they could starve those animals and get these people in trouble, because they turned them into the wildlife commissioner, whatever it is, for the state of Florida. They come out and inspected it. And yeah, they had a warning ticket. I think there was 2 or 3 items that they had to fix, and they did it and went on with life. It was nothing more than that, except it's brought up ever so often by this asshole that turned them in. My opinion of what he is, but you know, what the hell? If it walks and talks and like a duck, quack, quack, right? On his channel, when he likes to get those words that shouldn't be heard, he goes quack, quack. Yeah, he's a smart ass. Am I wrapped up a little bit? Yeah, I am. And it had to do with when I look out there and I say, this guy, he has no respect for women whatsoever. And I thought, well, maybe it was just older people that can't fight back. And no, somehow he's got that girl of his, so that she'll take all the crap he throws at her. I mean, we all seen it on the channel, didn't we? We all seen those snide remarks. I'm going to tell you something. I've been married. It's coming up on 62 years here in a couple months. And I've never said anything remotely like that to my wife. And if I would have, I either wouldn't be sitting here today, or I would be single, one of the two. I mean, my wife is nobody to mess with. And she's a little over 5 foot, and she's a bundle of energy if you piss her off. She climb up on top and hammer your head down. I guarantee you that. Oh, heck. You know, a lot of people said, why don't you let Michelle and John live with you? And many a time I've made the remark, number one, they wouldn't want to live with me. And number two, I don't want to give up what little privacy we're able to keep. We have a lot of things that we want to do, and we don't want to have to notify somebody else we're going to do it. We earned our quietness period, our last few years around here. And I don't particularly want to share it. I mean, when you have all those freedoms that you had when you were a child, why would you give it up? I mean, how many of you would like to stay a child most of your life with no worries? You don't have to worry about money or food or any of that stuff. Well, when you get my age, if you planned your life out right, a lot of those things are there for you. And you don't have to worry about tomorrow unless it's election time. And I'm not going to tell you anything about elections right now. It's too easy to get in a fight over things like that. And it's going to be over tomorrow. You can have your say so through tomorrow, everybody out there, if you're in the United States. And in a day or two or three, we'll find out who is going to be the next president and vice president. And there's going to be a lot of other things settled too in local elections and judges and all that's baloney. And hopefully we can put it all behind us. Maybe we can settle things in like Otter Creek there, but I doubt it. Well, the only thing I can say, Michelle and John, my hat's off to you. I know you've worked hard. You deserve everything that can be given and brought to you. You see, two leaves in a pod, they've worked diligently for the last few months. And the light was shown, and the good Lord bestowed upon them the ability to gather things that were needed, such as a fence. They were able to talk to people. They didn't have to threaten anybody. Believe me, they didn't hold a weapon to somebody's head and said, give, give, give. No, they said, open your heart up. Bring your gifts. You know, the three wise men brought gifts to Jesus Christ when he was born in a manger. He had less, a lot less than these people do. And the wise men brought something. They were bearing gifts for Jesus Christ. Mary and Joseph had nothing. Now, these people have very little, John and Michelle. And I only tell you the story about Christ because what if he was here today and he stopped into a lean-to shed that had some hay into it and his wife had a baby out there? The people in town, you never know. They might have wanted to hang the parents because they might not like the way that this child was born in a manger. They might not. We don't know how people are going to react today. We do know how they reacted to John and Michelle because of one person and his partner. And a couple of people come along on a small station, and this light started shining brightly. And it gathered people around, just like the star that guided people to Christ. And the gifts started rolling in. This little girl had a birthday. I'll bet she was smiling. She turned 5 years old. It's a turning point for her life. You want to know something else? She's going to get to have a Christmas. And no, it's not her birth. She's going to get to celebrate the birth of Christ on Christmas Day. And she's going to be given some presents. People opened up their hearts, and they're going to take care of this little girl. Well, Harley, my best wishes and prayers are for you. And you are so lucky to have so much love from your parents and all these people that are gathering together, bearing presents on one of the most blessed days this world has ever seen. And I hope that the goodness that has been bestowed on you on that day will follow you the rest of your life. That all these things that have happened to your parents, all this hate that they've had to endure, will go away. The biggest present and the biggest prayer should be for that day so that everything else is taken care of, so that this little girl can go on with her life. And I thank everybody out there for making such a great day ahead for this little girl, something to look forward to. This little girl has had the love of some parents that have sacrificed everything. They have not used her in any way. They have not abused her. They have bestowed love on this child. And it's not measured in the house you live in, nor the table with crystal that's set before you. All right. The last thing I'm going to talk about. Tube down. Did you notice yesterday the best part of that property still looks trashy? The brush is gone, but the dump is there. Used equipment. It's a big golf course, one hole. Do you think this thing was put there for looks? Well, you know, when I first seen it, and I thought this thing was really going to go big, I thought the kids in that town were going to be lucky. They were going to have a place to come and play games and have good times and hear the smiles and the laughter and all that. Once again, I got fooled. We all know why it's there. And we know what it's brought. It brought some jerk from another state in there that chose to harass John and Michelle. When he wanted to defend his property, he was sent to jail for 40 days. That remind you of something? Our earth was covered with water for 40 days and 40 nights. I don't know. No good is going to come of that place. No good. Anybody around there knows why it's there. It was meant to aggravate. It was made so that these people will break their protection order. I can't think of people so rotten to pull this kind of stuff. And this stuff spread. It's worldwide, the hate. When is enough enough? I ask you. Is the Lord going to have to come down and take care of this? The mighty Lord will find a way to bring the goodness back that these people have tried to generate within their self, within their family. The three of them are a family, people. They deserve better than this from all of us. So let this fight end. You know, one of the first things I learned as a child going to church was the 23rd Psalms. We all had to memorize something. And we would get up in front of the congregation and we would tell everybody about it. And for a child that's somewhere between 4 and 6 years old, it's quite an accomplishment to copy a verse, memorize it, and tell it to everybody out there. But I want to tell you something. A small church, you know everybody. You look out there and you're saying, oh yeah, I know everybody by name. So you're not as worried when you get up there. Matter of fact, you're very glad because you're going to give them a message. Part of that is, yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I feel no evil, for thou art with me. If you have the Lord in your heart, and you're willing to give everything over to the Lord, that is true. The 23rd Psalms is part of you. Another part there, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod is used for protection. The staff is used to help the sheep out of up a cliff. It's got a hook on it. You can hook them, bring them up. Pull them out of a hole they may have fell into. Pull them out of the mud if they happen to be in the mud. The shepherd had two tools. One is to help, the other is to defend himself. Why do you think the Lord gave him the ability to help and protect himself? Because he expects you to do that for your flock. They're examples that the Lord knew we would have to protect ourselves. He knew we couldn't always turn the other cheek. The 23rd Psalms has a lot in it, depending on how you want to follow it. Sometimes standing your ground is very hard. The good guy can end up on the wrong end of the law, man's law, not the Lord's law, not the morals. And people take advantage of everything they can. I say it's time we stop taking advantage of John and Michelle. Let them have a life. This fence is going to protect him from the people that drive by on that road. It's not going to protect him from social media, this thing. You know, when I was a young fellow, and this was back, in the early 60s, just before I went to service, my dad told me, he said, watch out for Big Brother because it's coming. You will have no more privacy. Big Brother is going to take care of everything for you. And I didn't realize that he probably was right. Our entire world is under the scrutiny of things like this, social media, where our friends are nothing more than a check mark on there. My son one day said, I have a couple thousand check marks on my Facebook. I said, son, those aren't approval and they're not for your friends. They want you to go on their channel and check mark their channel too. I said, they don't know you from Adam. What do you know about that person? He said, well, not a whole lot. And I said, do they ever ask you for money? He said, well, I never give them any money. I said, yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, he cleaned his Facebook up pretty good because, it got to the point where I couldn't send him a message and where he'd get it. Now, I don't use Facebook. I use email a lot of times, or I call him on the phone, but and I text him on the phone. And there's been times where he didn't get it because there was too many on there and he just erased everything. But now he's cleaned it so that not everybody can get on there. And he's a happy person because he got rid of all the trash that was out there that was obvious trash. He found out he doesn't need all those friends he's never met. I said, listen, it's better to have people that you've met or talked with you to know well. You get on here on a daily basis and talk to somebody and you start recognizing some of them, and they, you can rely on some people, not everybody, but some. You don't have to hang your dirty laundry out on places like this. So, well, hopefully everything's went okay. And I hope all of you weren't too bored. And I didn't have a chance to really go over too much on here. So let me see if I can spend a little time just looking and see what's on here. I'm going to make the writing a little bigger for me. Let's see. Yeah, I can't do it there. Oh, wait a minute. Here, I can do it. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to chat. So everybody out there, if you have some questions, let her fly. Let's get this thing going here. The rest of my time is going to be spent talking to you guys on here. You've been here this long, you deserve to have my attention. So here we go. Join the joiners: Stacy, Stats, Funny Sonny, Dennis Lawson, Karen Castle, Shannon, my little homestead. What do you got to say? Extreme Subs, Concerned Planet. Come on, give me a few questions. I'll do my best to to answer for you today, because then we're going to cut her off in a little bit here. Sing us a song. Oh, let's see. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire. Little Johnny Cash, how's that? Did that help a little bit? Oh, let's see. Oh, great show, Ray. Concerned Plant. Thank you. Kitty Mama, hi, Ray. Thank you. Love and support your neighbors. Yeah, that's a good advice. You're an amazing man. Thank you. Good morning from Australia, Mr. Ray. Well, thank you. Hello, keep up the great work you do. Sing, I'll fly away. I don't know if I know that song, but maybe I can look it up. I love that song. It's my dad's favorite. I'll look it up. Let's see. Trinity Meadows. You're awesome, and we love you, Ray. Well, I love all you guys out there, too. You gals that come on this channel and have so much patience and listen to me. Even if I get wound up a little bit and you come back for more, and I'm surprised and happy both. So let's see. We are the good guys. Harley's Angels. Yes, Tracy, that's true. Debbie Ellis, hello over there. I would appreciate you repeating the site you recommended, re-background on JH. PBR. His name is Psychic Babble Rapper. Okay. Psychic Babble Rapper. That's the one. Oh, let's see. I appreciate all the kindness and love in the chat tonight. Thank you. That was Stats. And she's thanking everybody out there. Thank you, Stats. There need to be more people in the world like you, Ray. You have a heart of gold. There's some out there that disagree with you, I'm sure. There need to be more people. The 23rd Psalm is a protection prayer. My grandmother made us learn, and she recited every time she went into surgery. And you're right. The Lord is your main protector. And he gave you the staff for extra when you're out there where you are being attacked. That's what that staff is for. It's also made so that you can climb a mountain and use it like a crutch, if you will. The rod is, the staff is made so that you can pull your sheep out of a hole or pull it back or control it. Okay, Lori from Maine. Psychic Babble Rapper. There you go. Funny Sonny has it. If you go to that channel, you're going to see he knows Jeremy from long ago. Jeremy is a wolf in sheep's clothing. My opinion is you're right. Darwin Goodson, I think Jerm should sell his land on whatnot. You're looking, I know you wanted to buy it for $5. If I was the auctioneer, I'd give it to you. And I'd put the $5 in and you could have it. You are one of the good guys. Oh, by the way, if you get a chance, go ahead and see Darwin Goodson's channel. You're going to enjoy it. He speaks the truth, and he's got plenty of wisdom. Somebody's got to go eat. I'm going to have to, too, pretty quick. No, I got a while yet. Had a great stream yesterday. Psycho Bible Rap. Yeah, that's correct. He did. Let's see. Her barn-style home needs an army of angels around their property. That building is made according to code for Florida standards. And it was made to be a house. It's not a storage shed, the barnuminium. It is made to be a house. They are popular all around the United States, just to let you know. Let's see. Some stats that I'm glad you like Darwin. Emojis will make you feel a lot better. Trinity Meadows, peculiar. I saw that and was yelling, you brought this extra on yourself. It should have ended when his water bill was connected. But he wouldn't let it go at that. Yeah. Darwin, he's selling squares of Tube Town and whatnot. Okay. You know what? He might sell small spots. There's a lot of desert land you can buy for $1 a square foot, and so you can own a piece of Arizona. Uh, oh, I truly believe the situation with Otter Creek JC is so much bigger than them to me. JH behavior is a clear picture of what is happening to the free world entitlement. And I've tried to tie that back into the entire world. Half the world is mad at the other half, and it's dangerous out there. It's getting worse, and I'm sorry it's that way. But the second coming of Christ is supposed to cure all this, and I think it's going to come one of these days. I may not be here when it happens, but it's in the not too distant future. Oh, let's see. The gospel of what not boring. What not can. Stats, message retracted. What happened, Stats? Okay. Trinity, hi, hope all is well. Hi, Ray. I wasn't into any of the Otter Creek or other personal stuff when I started watching his channel, but it took over his channel. It did. It did. It's because he makes a lot of money off from it. He got a couple 100,000 subscribers talking about Michelle and John. If anything, it's too bad he didn't share the rewards with them. Instead, he beat him over the head with it. Oh, he wants to sue the planet. He will if he gets a chance and lives long enough. Scotland sells 1 foot by 1 foot lots. That's from Stacy. In prophecy and revelations, yes. I continuously pray for everyone, and that is a good idea because everyone's going to need those prayers. The time is near. Extreme Labs, he's going to find he will lose a lot as many will sue him right back and win. Yeah, he turns against everybody that ever gets too close to him. And like I say, he feeds on them just like a big fish in a small pond, in my opinion. Always had to say my opinion. I think you're right. He's mad at the world. Yeah, and half of them are mad at him now. 2 of us dropped, same links, Ray. Retracted one, didn't need to. Okay. I couldn't figure out what happened, Stats. I thought somebody tried to nail you or something here. His property is swampland and found out he can't build on it, so trying to sell it now. It could be, now regular swampland, sometimes you can build on it, but on wetlands, it takes special permission. Somebody was in the other day, one of the chats, and said that you can build no matter where you're at. Like in the swamps, if you want to build, you can build, but it has to be above the high water mark. And the person built their place 20 feet off the ground. And they were talking about Louisiana. And I've been out there and seen a lot of places that were 20 feet off the ground out there. But they get damaged just as bad from the hurricanes that come through. They get blown apart. And all that's left there is the pilings that were put in so that you could build 20 feet off in the base of the swamp. So I know my way around Houma and the area out there. So I spent a lot of times out there in Morgan City. I actually worked down by Luling. There's a famous bridge down there. I'll tell you the story about that bridge one of these days. A friend of mine named Roland used to own the place. You could look out the door of his tavern and see the Luling Bridge, but he was a big time millionaire, and his hobby was a tavern. All about the alternative. He can still make videos for accountability as per the blogger's handbook. He doesn't have to put it all on the public viewing. He should have researched the property in the area before he bought it. That's true, Debbie. Love you, Ray. Going to start at the beginning. Okay, Pam. What exactly changed your mind about germ? Well, the biggest thing was a few months ago. I can't go back how far now it was, but all of a sudden, Harley became the center. And during one of my videos, I said, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. I don't want any part of it. It got my heart. Even if you're working in her behalf, if you attack the parents, the variety of it will come back on her when she's 12 or 13 or 14 when she's in school. She'll be known for that more than anything else, no matter what she does. And I didn't think it was fair that she was going to come to the forefront. I would like to see this thing end as quickly as possible so that she don't have to relive it in her teens. People in general, once they hit puberty, can get kind of hateful for a little bit because they're all big shots, and people get picked on for some of the darndest things they don't deserve. So I would say that was the biggest turning point. And one of the turning points was I seen the hate that was behind him. People that had something to do with him, they don't like him. And he started talking about what was behind him. And he wasn't very good about it. And if you look how he talked to George on this text that he sent her, he's like that with everybody that have a disagreement with him. Not just George, but everybody. My opinion is there's a major problem there. And it's not something I can fix. And all of a sudden, it came, that I decided if I could help somebody out that's under this extreme criticism, I was going to do it. And I tried to find out more about Michelle and John. It wasn't that I didn't like them when I was back then. It's just I didn't know anything about them. And the more I know about them, the more I realize it has to be somebody very tough to put up with what they've went through, especially in the last 8-9 months. My goodness, the psychological damage that's being done to those three is unconscionable. Prisoners in a time of war go through less. These people can't go to the post office without being accosted. They cannot walk down the street without somebody accosting them. They can't go grocery shopping without somebody bothering them. What kind of a world is that we're giving this little girl to? What does she think about this world? She loves those people, and they're being picked on. How do you think she views the world? It's them against us at that point. All of us are part of the world at that time. She'll grow up not trusting anybody. If this goes on, she won't know the good from the bad people. It can't keep going on, people. Something has to happen. This has to come to an end. I hope when the fence goes up, it'll stop some of the scrutiny in the pictures. And people won't come over to Tube Town to go over there and see what Michelle and John and Harley are doing. That's what my hope is and my prayers. The big thing, the big turning point was using Harley as a focal point because that immediately people do not want to see a little girl on the wrong end of things, a little boy or a little girl, a child. And they immediately put all this crap on John and Michelle. I'm just telling you, things have to change. It just has to change. The huge one that did it for me was the live he did with DU guy with him visiting Otter Creek, raising money to fight Harley's adoption. You can see it on DUI guy's face. He didn't agree. He's kind of backed off a lot. Larry Foreman. Like I say, he's the one that got my channel going for me. And I don't really know what to say about that whole thing. Agree to someone that won't continue his harassment and not film her property. Hopefully, G stays strong and away from him. I hope so. George has shown, not George, John, or George took off and she's somewhere else. She may show up on this next Sunday's live. Who knows? She has a lot to lose if she leaves. And I don't know if this is a temporary thing. It's not the first time it's happened, by the way, people. She very well could show up tomorrow. She could show up tonight. Who knows? This is a business arrangement. I don't think it's a real boy and girlfriend anymore. Felicia, it was his great business plan. We've been told, though, What is the real reason? Cheap land. He felt like he could take advantage of a small town. That's the whole thing. He really thought that small town would bow down to him. Like I say, you got to watch out, people bearing gifts. The UI guy is a con man. He's heading on the side of the drunk drivers. He was just as bad riding on and continues to grift of the situation. I don't blame her. She should be ashamed. And I know George should be ashamed. Yes, I agree with that. Oh, where's DUI guy now? Ran with tail between his legs now. I'm not so sure. It's only been a little over a week ago. He had put a show on about Jeremy. So I don't know where that relationship is at this point. It's only a guess. I can tell you that. I haven't done anything, as far as emailing or talking to Mr. Foreman. I'm not all that interested in what he's doing. I think by staying away, he's doing a better job at staying away than if he gets too involved in this thing. They'll drag him through the mud and do whatever they have to him. But the farther away he stays, the less scrutiny he'll be under one of these days. I think many wanted to see the good that they were doing, but slowly Jay's turned showing his true colors. I want to tell you something about narcissists. What I believe and what I've seen, I worked in the corporate world, and I changed somewhere around 40, 41 years old. I got out of that mess. But anyway, a narcissist will do things so that they get a pat on the back. They love to ring the bell and have somebody tell them what kind of good they did. Now, he put a lot of time in Christmas in the Creek, and I can guarantee you he was rewarded financially very well, personally. The gifts that came in there, most of it came from his subs. After all, he's got over 700,000 people that will donate to him. And one night, in a couple hours, he was able to gather somewhere around $30,000 in that GoFundMe to try to take Harley away from John and Michelle. That's a lot of power, people. A lot of power. And it gets in your head. And it makes you feel like you're something you're not. A narcissist likes to think that they're on the throne and that they can do the judgment. And they can ask for things and you have to give it. If you don't give it, he'll come after you. I'm just telling you. Special gifts to him. Have you ever watched him? Have you ever seen a smile on his face when he sits back and this chat starts rolling and there's money on it, on a super chat? He gets this little grin and, every once in a while he gives a word out to one of his subs, one of those people. And they feel great. Do you ever remember that woman in a wheelchair at the meeting that came up to him and gave him a few bucks in his hand and that big smile on his face? Do you remember that? That's only been a couple months ago. Go back if you don't believe me. Go over to Otter Creek in one of the meetings and watch him put a couple bucks in his pocket. This poor woman's in a wheelchair. She's from a small town. Nobody in that town has much money. People freely give everything they've got. You'd think he's still in the church and that little pan around. Let it go down through the pews and hearing the clink, the rattle of money and the tingle of the change. And his smile comes big on his face. He can tell you how much is in there before it hits the end of the pew. Lots of experience. Grifters are great at what they do. The way he mocked his son for weeks after he come, he's still mocking his son. Still doing it. I feel sorry for that kid. You notice that everybody they've done everything they can to leave that poor boy alone. He's been through a lot. And he looks a lot like his dad. The look in his eye would make you cry. Please swipe the like button. I've got this expanded out. I can't see it right now. And it won't let me hit my own button, I don't think. Yep, seen it when he was growing up. Let's see, money is not as much as power as the people behind it. He only acknowledges the super chats. Yeah, if you're on his thing down here below the comments, you probably never get anything out of him. And he looks at it before they go up, though. Only special ones go up on the chat down there. I thought Deanna and George were good friends, but Deanna stays there and works with Jeremy and wonder why. I hope you didn't think that Diana was there for George's benefit. That was never the plan, I don't believe. My opinion. Guess what, though? She'll be dropped like a hot potato quicker than anything else. When you remember, this is not funny. I shouldn't laugh at all. He ran off to Ohio because he thought George was doing something with somebody else, and he left some animals to die. My opinion is he didn't give a damn. What happened to him happened to him. Diana, he will leave. No, I'm pointing my finger at the chat here. He will leave that person in a heartbeat without a second thought. That's my opinion. And she may have other thoughts about the relationship, but is nothing more than a minion. She means nothing. And she's there for the pat on the back by him, not her. I hope George stacked evidence against him before she left. She's dealing with a narcissist and she needs to stay 10 steps ahead. I'm not so sure she's going to be gone. There's a lot of money involved here, folks. And you know, many times I've said that cat has more than 9 lives. I feel that he's able to spin things and he works people. He has what it takes to spin people around to his thinking. And it's either going to be money or he has something on her and she won't have a choice. Or there's going to be a threat of some kind. I don't know which one it'll be. And that's my opinion again. A narcissist stops at nothing to get what they want. Nothing. I followed him for years and he never acknowledged me like you all fine people do. Love this community full of wonderful people. Well, thank you, Extreme Subs. Thank you very much. She gets paid to do what she does, right? Well, according to Mr. Hales, she was a paid employee. That's what he said. Watch that. Willis and Jeremy is going to have a falling out, and he'll have to do it with Diane. It'll have to do with Diane. Okay. That could be. I don't know. I think he'll just leave them all holding the bag. I think he's getting ready to leave people. Did Jeremy ever win when he sued so many people? I don't think so. Each one he dropped for one reason or another, usually out of the goodness of his heart. Yeah. You do know that the charge that was dropped that he put against the town clerk was dropped by the DA, not by Jeremy. Was not a truth. 2 leaves in a pod. Lisa, she spoke about it the other night. That poor woman had to end up with a stroke. She's in her 70s. She don't even come up to his armpit. He filed charges against her for assault and battery. Lord help me. You talk about taking advantage of the law. Travis will have a rude awakening. I think he's had it a few times. He already threatened her with court. Yes, he did that in writing. Okay. That was on 2 leaves in a pod the other night. That says you have over 120. Okay. Thumbs up. Thank you. I think he needs Travis to do work for him a little longer. You know, in a way, Travis is a slave. He's an indentured slave. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but many people come to this country. They were indentured slaves. and they owed somebody, and they had to pay it off. And until that point, and the way the laws were back then, you had to work for that person or go to prison, indentured slave. And I believe that that is what Willis is falling into, if not in reality, mentally. Okay. It's hard to watch the last narcissist I seen on YouTube hurt so many. It's hard. Yes, I believe that. If Travis was smart, he would run away from JH. Travis is intelligent, but money means a lot more than intelligence. Mr. Ray, Michelle dropped the case. No, I'm not. I'm talking about. Yes, I know Michelle dropped that case of the PO. I know that, and it was actually the lawyer that did it, but he apparently had advised her to do that. And I don't know the background or why or anything like that. I've never asked Michelle, and I'm sure she could tell you. And maybe one of these days we'll find out why that was done. I have no idea why it was done. I want you to think about this. The longer it went, and it kept on going, the more money it was going to cost. It's very expensive to keep it in court that long. Whatever Travis's turn, I missed that. It went too fast. Extremes, I hear you on that one. I had sent emails and they were never answered. And when they started members, that was the only time they read my message. Then in Hawaii, I got yelled at by him. Wow, Stacy. Wow. Do you know that there was some that came here to my channel that were members, and he had ghosted them, where it looked like they were making comments, but they weren't seen by anybody. And then they found out about it. And so they got off his channel and did not continue their membership. Tube Town is a freaking mess. And I would be embarrassed if it were on my property. It's a sad attempt at a cruel joke. Yeah, it is cruel. It's cruel to the people across the road. They won't have to look at it pretty soon. Tube Town is, yeah. That Hawaii trip, I seen many changes in him, and he's losing it over a natural. Please be careful. Comment was wrong and rude, so I stopped commenting at that point and just watched. You know, Stacy, I've seen rumors about what was going on there, and I don't know if they're true or not. But, you know, a friendship may have been lost over that trip. I'm assuming. He has Travis in training to do his whatnot. Yes. Travis needs to run. Yes, Brenda, he does. Concerned, I see bad changes in Travis too. He's following his boss. I watched one go through an emotional damage chat for over 3 years, and it's still happening. If it's what's happening, pray for those those being controlled or used. Yes, you're right, Stats. There is a lot of control, and it's done with usually because of financial things. This is Travis is money struck and can't. Okay, Travis is money struck and can't stand still like he's on something. In my opinion, he does bounce a lot. The case was dropped as the higher penalties and better outcome are sought in other charges. Therefore, it negates the lesser matter. Yeah, you're more than likely you're right. I don't know what the outcome is on that. You know, the lawyers at this point are holding things, some things close to their chest. You know, we're not going to get to see them until something happens on that. I just don't know what the whole outcome is. By the way, for you people that live out there in Otter Creek, supposedly a rat boy has been stalking John and Michelle out there. If you see him, turn him into the authorities. There's a summons out there for him. And, you know, it needs to be served. And if for some reason you're he's involved in that lawsuit. Let's put it that way. So anyway, If you see him, say something. The case was dropped as a higher. Okay. You can tell Travis is under a bad influence. His attitude sucks. Unfortunately, that's how JH traps people with the lure of easy money. Yes. Love you, Mr. Ray. Okay, Marla Hart. Marla Hurt. Let's see. I like Travis, and you can see it in the way he calls anyone who says something is a hater. He's got Julia believing that. Yeah. He you know, his a man and wife, if they're really close, they are going to stick with each other through thick and thin, and it'd be hard to, I'm sure his wife loves him very much, and she'll probably stick with him no matter what. Travis definitely has a weird attitude, but he does. Peculiar, yes, you can see the change in him. I agree. Travis has changed over time. I'm reading these off the chat, by the way. For 3 years, they grift, extort, damage, vulnerable special. Me and Gate Smasher went through heck. It seems YouTube has so many grifters. Please be careful. Use a P.O. box for gifts and purchases. What else we got? Travis is in it for the money. Yeah, just about everybody that follows. And when they took my channel down, or not my channel, but one of my videos down, one of the comments in there was that everybody that followed him, and I'm going to try to give you somewhat the words they were, okay? But they wanted something, either money or fame. That's why they're following him. And Travis is following him. And that's what Jeremy thinks of him. Not a friend, my opinion. He is a follower that wants either fame or money or both. And he actually said, Jeremy said, that people would rather have fame than money. They want to be known. And part of that could be true. I don't know. I don't know what it takes to satisfy a person, whether they have to be noticed or whether they want all the money they can put in their pocket. Certainly it's one or the other. But that's what he feels about the people that follow him. So if you're a follower, at least you know what he thinks of you, right? Jeremy's going to turn on them all. He turns on them eventually. Oh, hey, Ray, new sub here. How was your day today, Mr. Grinch? Well, I don't know how you come up with that name, Mr. Grinch, but my day was fine. How was yours? Let's see. I'd rather be poor than be stabbed in the back. Ooh, Luna, sometimes money overrides good sense. And I've seen a lot of people that greed got the best of them. The day comes when they're out of money, and hopefully they can find their way back into the goodness of the Lord. Hello, Debbie. How are you? From Mr. Grinch. He's outright said his subs are ignorant, and he doesn't know why they watch him in so many words. He said some worse things than that. Some of them I can't repeat on here. Good day there at Whoville, Mr. Grinch. All about the alternative. They make money because their channel was hyped by Jeremy to sub all of them. They wouldn't get that many subs that fast without it. I know. I didn't. That's true. Jeremy has a lot of clout. Like I say, he raised it a couple hours, around 30 grand on a GoFundMe for those people that we're going to take, or we're going to try to take Harley away from John and Michelle. I would find it hard to go on this channel and ask for money to rip a child away from their parents. It would break my heart. It would break me as a person. I would not be able to live myself. I would not be able to sleep. So I don't understand the analogy of people like that. I only know the description of what they are. That's as simple as I can put about people like that. And again, my opinion is in there. I don't understand them. I don't know how a person can be that way. What is missing in them? Maybe some of you know what's missing, because I certainly don't. When the day that I said that I was changing stuff because I knew I couldn't change that person, that I would change into trying to help somebody, it was like a burden was lifted off my shoulders. The realization that this is a battle I couldn't win. But the battle of helping somebody, I had more of a chance at that. And that's what I'm about. And the good Lord wants people to act that way. All those bad things were rubbing off on me during that period of fighting something that I could not beat. The stuff I do on here today, and I get upset with it. You've seen how quickly something like that can eat you alive. And if you do that just before you go to bed, you're not going to get to sleep that night. You have to have time to calm down and get your good sense about you. That's the way this world works. That's the way your psychic works. You can only take so much of that. Getting mixed up with somebody like that is nothing but harmful to you and anybody that is around that person. But if we jump on the bandwagon to help John and Michelle, it makes up for all that. It makes you feel better that you can give something out of your heart. You can give some advice. You don't have to give money all the time. You can give them some advice. Do the things you can to help instead of tearing something down. I don't know how else I can put it. Only 7,000 showed up for his live, only 1.5 thousand likes. This just shows how many actually support him. Out of 725,000 people, he should have had a lot more than that on there. Wow. It was 35,000 in GFM and 17,000 for his stupid hoodie. Yeah, I know. I've seen that. That's the one with the tea stain, remember? For his stupid hoodie was, yep, that's right. Sweet tea thrown on it. And he raised that one on live stream to take Harley away. That is correct, Trinity Meadows. That's the one I was talking about. Oh, let's see here. Mr. Grinch, thank you from my Florida friend. Hi, Debbie Ellis. I'm still really tired, but otherwise handling was pretty well. That's expiration date said that to you, Debbie Ellis. That whole telethon live was so cringy and just was bad. That's right. All about the alternative. Thank you for that statement. Trinity Meadows. Miyagi numbers don't lie. Yeah. Miyagi. Interesting. Expiration date. Thank you so much for asking. That was to Debbie Ellis. For you, expiration date for fast healing. Oh, you're the first one ever to do this, to do that. Love it. High stats, expiration date. Lauren Miyagi, yep, that's the way Germ is, going to move and create more drama somewhere else, because otherwise he is boring and nobody likes his personality or fake story Jews crap. That's saying it like it is. Lauren, thank you. I didn't see Miyagi in there, so I somehow, there, I see it now. It says, Ray, look out for frogs. Just ask Lisa. Okay, I will. Oh, Miyagi, where's Super Dave at? Super Dave. Okay. Let's see. I use the wrench like it is chat and protect others. Oh, my goodness. You had to be there, Gabe. Was much. I will never turn love, praise, and wishes away, for that's for sure. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there. Look at all them frogs down there. Stacy and Sniffles. My goodness. Oh, yeah. And I see some smiles there with Stacy. So, okay. I was one of the JH very first subscribers. He was so sweet to M for a minute. It didn't take long for him to start making personal digs. You know, before George there, you know, he had a girlfriend. I think her name was Holly. I don't think that lasted very long. And if I'm not mistaken, in my opinion, I think there was a assault charge there somewhere. So I'd have to go back and look. It's been a long time since I went back and looked at all that paperwork. But you know, I'll do it before the next live that I do. And I don't know when the next live is going to be, but I will come armed. Let's see. I know I warned you back in the beginning about adding Otter Creek to your titles. I hope you understand now that I was saying and to help, not to be mean. Otter Creek, what happens is just the word Otter Creek, and I'll tell you where a lot of it comes from. Wikipedia, if you look it up, and right now, if you look it up, you probably won't see it, but right next to Wikipedia was Jeremy Hales and What the Hales. It was tied a few months ago, so tight that you wouldn't see one without the other when you looked through to get a notation on it. He actually put Otter Creek on the map with these videos. Make no mistake, Otter Creek, the reputation of Otter Creek is due to Jeremy, my opinion. And at this point, the reputation is tainted terribly. People out there that have watched this think that there is somebody using illegal type medications on every corner. They think that whole town is nothing more than a bunch of, I don't know how to put it, because the things that they think about Otter Creek are absolutely untrue. Otter Creek is a typical small town of 100 people. Most of them are comfortable with their life, and they didn't have to have a lot of money to be that way. You know, they used to knock down Thomas Collins. And this young fellow, you know, I used to call him a kid because, you know, my age, everybody under 50 looks like a kid. Thomas is in his 30s. He is out there and he pulled himself up by his own bootstraps. He helps people out. You know, he goes out and he junks scrap. He's got a trailer. It's his trailer. He does the repairs on it. He loads it. He unloads it. He offers to help people. Anybody that asks him, he goes over. He will help them. Regardless of what you think or anything else, he's a good young man. Just give him a chance. And there's plenty of people out there that hold grudges forever. And none of us are perfect. But, you know, when I first heard about that young man, I got in on the part where he might as well have been decapitated by Jeremy. But then when I seen, and by the way, one of his subs jumped on me, not physically, you know, but in my chats, and told me he thought I'd better look and see if I couldn't find a little better thoughts about Thomas, that it was somebody that knew him and said he really does have a good heart. And then I started looking at him from a different light, and I did see that different things about him. And I don't expect him to be perfect any more than he expects me to be perfect. He's just a good young man. So I wouldn't have any trouble being a neighbor to Thomas. And yes, I like working on cars and stuff I know he loves cars and motors and things like that. And I did. That's why this garage was built, so I could work on classic vehicles. That's it. This is my hobby shop. I never thought I'd affect so many people there. I'm from a small town, also Birchwood, Tennessee, and we stay to ourselves. Yeah, I lived in small towns, and even like here, we know when a stranger comes in, we kind of protect each other in that way. And neighbors will let me know what's coming and going if I happen to be gone for a while. If I go on vacation, they watch my property for me. Uh, they do a lot of things. A small town will look at things. If like somebody out there in Tennessee, if you live in back in one of them hollers, chances are you have lots of cousins and uncles and things like that have been there for generations, depending on what part of Tennessee or Kentucky you come from. My grandmother on my dad's side, her family actually come out of the Appalachians, and they were always close knit, and a lot of them had moved at the same time my grandmother's family did. And I have over 100 cousins that I grew up with on my dad's side, and pretty close to that many on my mom's side. I was related to a lot of people, and they kind of hung together. They would make a small town easily. It's just the way things are. Small communities stay fairly tight one way or the other, and they know about who they can step around or who to stay away from. But life goes on. People from outside cause a lot of problems when they come in. And depending on their attitude, they may get to leave quick. I would be willing to bet, just my opinion. But I think Jeremy is starting to wear his welcome out over there. The day's going to come where they get tired of the BS. Oh, TC is very strong. He has put up with a lot. I pray for him as well. Thank you, Extreme Subs. You're right, 100%. Thomas has a wonderful heart and it shows. Thomas seems like a good man. Thank you, Robin. I think he is. I sent Thomas a message. He must be busy. Still a bit of daylight left here. Yeah, that time change, daylight won't be around a whole lot longer. Of course, it's getting there. Thomas is doing a good job or a great job. Yes, I believe. TC made a lot of mistakes, but at least he learns from them, unlike some other people. Yes. TC, he reminds me of somebody that if you ask for help and you look him in the eye and say, look, I just need help today, he looks like somebody that would do it without hesitation. And he looks like somebody that would stand up for himself. I know people get upset with each other sometimes. And I don't think he goes out necessarily looking for trouble, but I think that he would rather stand his ground. I really do. I wouldn't think anybody would want to push him too hard. I really know that in my heart, I feel he's a good person. And I think he would help if I asked him, if I lived near him. I do. And he does help people when they ask him out there. So I know that some people really like him very well. And the reason I know that is because I was contacted by a lot of different people that said, hey, you need to look at this guy. He's not what you think. He's not a bad guy. Let's see. I wish I had the money to buy Thomas a new set of tires. He does a lot for his community. Well, Uncle Mo, I think if he was to set up an area for somebody to fund, they'll take care of him. He is receiving some things from time to time. And as his channel grows, there's a lot of things that'll come his way. And with that heart of his, I want you to think about this. Okay. The hurricane come along and blew part of his roof off. Now, who do you think right away offered him something? It was John. John Cook said, I will give you some of the tin off my fence to fix your roof. Yes, John did. John said that. Now, as it is, he was able to get brand new tin and had somebody that come over there and took care of that roof. That shows you small towns can get together and get things done and meet their goals. But it is an example, okay? Poor people help poor people out. I live in a small town in Tennessee too, and he wouldn't put his bullshit here. He'd find out real quick. Real men are there, yes. I guarantee you that. Jeremy may have been in seminary, but a man that makes such a claim shouldn't be a judge of others. Well, my parents were very religious. And when my mother passed away, and she had followed this certain channel, and my dad married a gal out of North Carolina, and she was very religious as well. They followed the PTO club. Praise the Lord. And the Bakers took them for a ride, financial ride. And my parents had very little, almost nothing. And it's hard for me to trust these big organizations that are always asking for money, religious organizations. I had always thought that a small church with a small congregation will help much more than a large church that's on TV. And that's still my opinion. Money brings greed. And no matter how religious or how Christian you are, it takes over your life. The livelihood, instead of coming from Jesus Christ, our Savior, comes from the gold in your eye that you want to obtain. And it would be hard for me to change my mind on those aspects. So I don't pay money out for a crying towel or any of that. I've seen too many of these big time supposed prophets fall on their face. And the Bible warns us about these prophets, false prophets. And I believe we have one in our midst that has been chopped down once already and never to return to the pulpit. That's what I believe, in my opinion. I know people that give you their shirt off their back, yes. Also, subscribe to Two Leaves, Tori, Robbie, Darwin, and Thomas Collins, Debbie Lockridge. Good thinking. Ray, thank you for everything you do for us. John, you're a good man. I'm just telling you, if I was around there, we would be friends. And I really appreciate what you and Michelle have done there. Anybody that can give their heart and everything they've ever earned for a life, for a sanctuary, and to a poor little child, my hats are off to you. You've more than proved yourself by me, as far as I'm concerned. I have no qualms about you whatsoever. So I wish you nothing but good things in the future. And I will pray for you as long as I live. And I know you're going to do good things. I think you have that heart. And I know you were the first one or one of the first ones to ask Thomas if he wanted something, some help after the hurricane when you found out about that roof. That says something about you. You're not wanting him to tear his house down. You want to help him build it back up. We want to be a mod for all the tea in China. LOL, that's a rough job. It is, Brenda. That's why I didn't want to force anybody. But luckily, Debbie Ellis came on board and Stats. And I'm happy that they came over here to help. And I didn't see how many were on here or how many people have had to be contained. Like I say, I don't want to see a dogfight go on in there. None of you deserve to get in those kind of fights. This isn't, what that's for. It's it's for people with good hearts, big hearts. I just love the things that you guys have been able to accomplish and do. Just good people out here, and it makes me feel a lot better. My wife and I have said the world has changed so much, and it's hard to look out there and see the things that are going on. And when I come on here and I see all these people that want to help out people, poor people that don't have much in their pocket, digging deep, and poor people that give from their heart, poor people that come out and trust each other. That's what God wants for us. That's what Christ was an example of. Christ walked among everybody. He didn't care if a person was a prostitute, a beggar. All he wanted was to show them the right path to be on, the light of the Lord. That's all you ask. And that's all any of us should ask, is something like that. I'm not perfect, and I won't be. I've led a rough life. I hope it doesn't end that way. I don't know how Michelle and John stood through all this alone. I don't either. I don't. My hat's off to them. They just they stood up to something that I don't think I could. I just don't think I could. I think it's really sad that the people of Otter Creek haven't seen the real hearts of John and Michelle. Otter Creek is really missing out. I think a lot of them probably would be around there more. Part of it, they're scared. And the other thing is, it's hard to go from being an outsider to part of the town. It takes time. And the longer you're there, the more you're going to be a part of it. It's a slow process. It really is. Remember now, Michelle ran for office, and she had a lot of votes. And I think the day's going to come where she will run for office again, her and or John or both, and they will be on that board someday. I think that's going to happen. The family that is trying to take Harley back tried to late term aboard her 3 times. Michelle said, if you don't kill her, we would take her. Oh, yes. Okay. You know, I put on there that they've taken care of this child 24/7. And they thought of this child before she was born. I can't tell you how much sacrifice is involved with somebody that age and a small child. It is a tremendous sacrifice. And the love that you have to get through that is unmeasurable. I can't put it any different. Like I say, my hats are off to those two. And it's hard to think of the two without the little child. But I still think, look what they did with that property. My goodness, it was a dump before they started. They've done everything they can to get somewhere. And with all that crap coming down on them, they're still working towards that goal. They didn't lose sight of the goal at all. If anything else, it's made them more determined. They have a goal. They've had to put up with stuff that you and I, most of us, have not had to put up with. More than any prisoner that has been subject to something in the world wars. The whole damn thing pisses me off. It's odd how many former preachers or just went to seminary are popping up on YouTube to comment on others. There seems like there are quite a few that YouTube is now their place to preach. Yeah, I'm so careful. I wouldn't want to tell somebody not to preach or not to get on their stand and talk if they really have a love in their heart for what they're talking about. Excuse me. A good Christian is that. They're a good Christian. They're not looking for notoriety. Mr. John, the plant is for you. Extremes of, yes. And now hopefully you can have peace and happiness. Never let anyone steal your joy. That's good advice. Very good advice. Bearded Fisherman. Our turtle farm looks awesome. It looks really awesome. I would love to visit them one of these days and talk to them and share things with them and all that stuff. Well, that's good thinking, Bearded Fisherman. You're a good man. And you've been around us a long time, and I've been around you for a while there too. And it seems like you're a very positive person. I'm glad that you pop in on these chats and join in. Thank you, John and Michelle, for saving Harley Grace's life. Bless you. They are truly blessed. And I think the Lord has sent an angel down to look over them. Somebody is on their side. Somebody very important, I'm thinking. Somebody that is much higher than all of us here. So, American Christianity is just a huge grift. I'm not so sure about that. That my great grandfather was a circuit rider, and in the little town where I grew up in, he had he was the first minister in that church that I went to, and a lot of my uncles ended up being ministers, and they all led pretty decent lives. They weren't perfect, no more than anybody else, but they never stole from anybody, and they supported the flock, if you want to call them, but the parishioners that were there. So I don't have a slanted view towards preachers or ministers. I just don't. I really look forward to hearing some of them, but there's a lot of them that'll take you down the wrong path, and the Bible warns you about those people. Mr. Cook, keep on keeping the faith. God is on your side. It's a long road, but there will be an end to it. Hugs to you and the family. Yes, double up on that. Says, no, you can't, John. You're not on trial. I'm not sure what that was an answer to. I didn't see that comment by John earlier on. So the feeling's mutual, my man. And remember, we always disagree to agree or agree to disagree. That's true, bearded fisherman. You're safe here, Mr. John Cook. Yes, as far as I'm concerned, you are safe. That's right, John. Take care of your girls, and we will lift you all the way up in our prayers. I do pray for them. And, you know, the power of prayer will move mountains. Oh, it's time, though, to make sure she is not being exploited on YouTube anymore. Her medical information and anything personal about her shouldn't be posted online. You know, the big problem about hearing all about the alternative, there was a lot of people that thought she's being taken advantage of, and a doctor's certificate was put out there that said they're doing everything that they're supposed to do. They disproved all the BS that was out there. And that should be enough for everybody. She's being taken care of, and it's been proven by a doctor. It's been proven by the Child Protective Service. I don't know what else people out there need. Is it that the people with eyes can't see? Can they not hear? Just they have ears, but they cannot hear. There's a problem out there. And John and Michelle are not that problem. It's the people who would bring them down that are. What if someday she doesn't want that information out there? Here's the thing. There doesn't need to be a minute by minute observation of what's out there, but one problem is that it was put out there a long time ago, and you can't retract what's been put out there. All you can do is you can take, well, sometimes they call making lemonade out of lemons. You have to put things in the best light. The Lord gifts us with things, and he doesn't give us any more hardship than what we can take. If you're a believer in the Lord, you know that to be true. And it may very well be the hardships of our health is part of the plan. I don't know. And if it is, it's something that we can, if we can live with it, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. Okay? So we just go on with life. Jim started on the guy, Mike, that he called a meth head, and now he calls him a friend. Strange, you think? I think so. That'd be strange. But a lot of the people that he has held on way up here has had some sort of a problem, if you noticed. What he calls out in other people seem to be things that are problem with him that he brings the closest to his chest. So he, in my opinion, I don't want to give what my real opinion is of that guy. Tom is a very good man, very respectful towards all. Yes. Marla, if it was anyone other than JH, I would give him the benefit of the doubt. But I understand. I understand very well. Oh, Sonia, are you Gail's sister? Was Gail in here? Oh, I didn't know that was you. I'll be darned. Oh, I tried to give you a pat on the back a few times, Sonia. I hope I haven't made you upset about anything out there. Uh, I thought you were one of the better people on that council, and I know that you worked hard and diligent. If you're the one I'm thinking, that around to the people in town and ask them what they needed or what they expected out of the council and reported it back. You were doing the job that you were voted in for. And I hope one of these days, if that really is you, that you go back on there, and because I know your heart is in the town, that you're for the town out there, and they need people like you. And this storm that's upon the town is going to go over. It'll be gone someday. So my hat's off to you, Gail. Let's see. Hi, Miss Gail. Much love to you and family. That was from Extreme Subs. Well, how about that? LOL. Hi, Gail. That's from Expiration. Marla Hurt, you're fine, Ray. We appreciate you so much. She is the one, Ray. Okay, Gene. I hope I've never upset her. I know that she worked very hard in that town, and she did fulfill the duties of that seat that she was on. And I do wish she was on there yet. I think that she has a lot more that she can do for that town to keep it together, and they're going to need all the help they can get. I think there's some financial problems coming their way, and that's only an opinion. But everything can be worked out. It just takes time and patience. As it says, this too shall pass. You sure? That's right, Lady Freebird. Expiration date, agree, Ray. Yes. All towns go through growth periods and financial problems, and about the time you think everything is going great, something comes along, a tree falls in your yard or takes your fence down. I had 10 years ago or so, a tornado went through here and took some of my best trees out of my backyard. You talk about being disappointment. It takes forever to grow a tree, by the way. Yeah, I took part of my fence out over here, hit the corner of my garage. This garage, I mean, my wife and I, we put our heart and soul in this place. Oh, we got through it. One of the neighbors come over and helped me clear all the trees. And matter of fact, they took the trees out of my yard and burned them next door. Yeah. A young guy, he was 25, 26 years old over there. His whole family come in to help. And yeah, man, it was quick. This place was just back like brand new in no time, other than it had a couple holes out here. And I had to plant some more shrubbery and bushes. But I lost my husband last November, and I'm lost. I broke my shoulder Labor Day weekend and then had pneumonia for 2 weeks. I will pray for you. I'm sorry to hear how hard it's been on you. The Lord will help you out. I really believe that. Wow. It's hard to lose a partner. You know, when two people are in love, it's hard to describe people that have never known that love of somebody that is that close. My wife is a true partner. We can't get any closer than that. I hope the day never comes where we have to separate. I would like to walk through the pearly gates hand in hand with my wife, if at all possible. But that's going to be up to higher authority than mine. Robin says, I liked it when Gail was on the board. Woman with common sense and cared about the people. She did. I think she showed that caring more than anybody I've seen on there, and that's why I felt that Well, she went out and talked to the people of the town. And I don't know how many other people did that, but she did. And I don't, you know, when you have 100 people, it's hard to get people to fill those seats. And it's a thankless job. People get mad at you for little things. I sat on a zoning board in a small town one time, and people got upset with me because of some of the things uh, that my beliefs. Okay, uh, when I looked at building or additions and things, there's more to look at than that. I looked at can the sewer take it? Can the water department take it? Are our schools going to be able to handle extra children? There's a lot of things you have to think about the infrastructure in a city before you say go out and plant houses in 40 acres out there. And one time I was a person that I went to school with, by the way, said I was a child hater because I wouldn't okay a addition that was going in. It wasn't up to me. I mean, I just sat on a board. I was one of the ones that said, we need to look at this. And we had lots in town that could be built on where the infrastructure was already there. So anyway, that just goes to tell you that it's a thankless job sometimes. So Gail didn't just say she cared. She showed it. She certainly did, Gene. She did. There are YouTube channels that dumpster dive, then sell what they find and make good money at it. You better believe it. By the way, Jeremy said that he had to dumpster dive when he first got his divorce. Do you remember hearing that on there? And then he was against it, and he went to the grocery store and shut that avenue down so that nobody could get stuff out of the dumpster to feed their animals. Yeah, he's got a big heart, doesn't he? Well, my opinion, it's a big heart. Nat, sometimes long run, the fox caught in the end. For you, Jen, keep the faith. Yes, I will pray for you, Jen. Well, you're still here, so that means your journey isn't over. Stay strong. That was for Jen from Stacy. I was dumpster diving like every single day just to eat. I was homeless for 7 years. Not no more. Things are getting a little better for me. I'm glad, bearded fisherman, that things are better for you. It's not a shame to dumpster dive, by the way. A lot of the job sites I was on, people would come in and on a regular basis, they went through the dumpster. And I never stopped them from taking the things out of it. Once we threw them in the dumpster, the company was done with them. And they're welcome to it. They had to be very careful. We didn't want people getting injured while they were doing it. We'd rather they took them out than put stuff in them. He will sue you, watch. Let's see. Glad things are better, Beard. Marla, I am sure he will, as in the message, he did say she will have her day in court. She's very well aware of everything that will happen the day that she walks out. That's why I say, don't be surprised if you see her back on one of his live shows. Don't be surprised at all. The one thing I've learned over the years is people that fight tooth and nail and hate each other, for some reason, they both come back for more of the same battle. I don't know if that'll happen here, but this guy has more than 9 lives. This cat, man, he spins everything. Nothing would surprise me. So don't be surprised if it gets turned around. Things are going to happen. People are finding out about it. My opinion is that it's just about come to an end. We're getting close. Extreme subs, it says he sure does strange things, Mr. Ray. He should have learned something, but seems he forgot what it's like to be down and out or need others. I will never forget what I've made it through. Yeah, life is hard at times, but it's only what we make out of it. in what we're satisfied with. None of us, or all of us can't be the king of the country. But we're part of the action, no different than the gears in the transmission. Each one of us is important that it runs. And without that gear, the transmission won't work adequately. The Lord put us all down here to work together. And so we're all part of it. This earth is almost a perfect filter, if you will. It cleanses itself with rain, filters down through the ground, percolates up. Our oceans are starting to get overloaded with a few things. We haven't learned what to do with plastics yet. But the earth is doing everything it can to bring us back to where we were. The Lord made this a perfect place, and he expects it to return back to what it was. It's a hard job. We're busy messing it up, and he's busy putting it back together. The Lord will win the battle. You can take my word on that. Let's see. I can't understand why people are still giving him money and he's spending so much on himself and YouTube. One night, Linda, he sat there and he had his arms going out. He said, I need money. I have no money. I need more money. And he put his head back. So I can give it away. So I can give it to you. I want money. He says, I'm here to give it all away. Okay. Remember I told you about that? The little gal in a wheelchair at the meeting, town hall meeting, that was smiling and gave him some money. She was so happy. It made her happy to give this money. People listen to the BS out there. And the grifters are very good about extracting it out of people that are a little older. And older people, my age, they want to make people happy. They don't want to make people upset. And he only asks for $1 or $2. Even if you don't have it to spare, he only asks for $1 or $2. He'll take it all if you give it to him. It won't hurt his feelings at all. He just got through telling you he needs more money. He's a millionaire. He lives in a $1 million home. He has to have money to be happy so he can give it back to somebody. Not you that gave him, but somebody else. Somebody like that felon that put charges against John. Oh, did I say felon? Multiple felonies. He got in a gunfight with the police while he was robbing a pharmacy. Yeah, he helped this guy out. And when the guy ran off with the money, he got this girl that was with him, and he brought her down there to get things going. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people believe in him. There's a lot of people give. They give with their heart. They still have a heart. And he is more than willing to take it all. I feel bad for the people that have listened to it. This isn't the first time. It won't be the last time. And he's not the only one that does it or will do it. It's part of life. People take advantage of other people. The Lord won't look very well on it. He will judge him. He is the final judgment. Oh, I ran off with these girls' share. Who's that? Okay. Got to eat dinner. Have a great weekend. You know what? It's 5:00. So I've been on here too long. And I've had a good time on here, and I'm glad that there wasn't a big fight on here or anything like that. Everybody got along well, and I can't thank you enough. And subs, thank you so much for coming in here today and helping me out. I don't have time, and my eyes aren't very, aren't that great. So it's hard for me to see the chat. And, right now I've got it at, I think 125%, so I can see it better. It's hard for me to keep up and that if I look at the screen and try to talk, but I can see this. So I thank you so much for coming in and help me, and all of you on your comments. Everybody that I've been able to read, and I'm sorry if I missed some of them. I'll do my best anytime I'm up and got running one of these things. You really appreciate. Oops, excuse me. Oh boy, there's so many of you that have big hearts, and you really are restoring my faith in human nature. This fight we're in, it's not really so much a fight, I guess, and it's not a side. It's using your heart to heal and build. And that's what we're about. You and I, all of us, we're here on this earth to be a part of it, not to push everything away. If you want to be a hermit, that's fine. If you want to come in and be around people, it's great to share. When I was a kid, if we walked down the road and somebody was out there in their garden, half the time they'd call you over and say, hey, you want a tomato or whatever they were harvesting that day in the garden. They were glad to share it. Oh my goodness, it was a wonderful world. And I miss it so much. And I love being my age. I love it because the responsibilities that I had years ago and the stress that you go through and all of that, it's just about gone. The rewards towards the end of your life, even though there's a lot of things you can't do, there's never a day where my day isn't filled with things to do. It takes me longer to do the same thing, but that's nothing wrong with that. That's a gift. Okay, can you hear me? My mic is battery operated. And the main lead that goes back in, I've got it hooked into like an octopus over here. And I had pulled that loose last night before I turned in. And it went dead. I hope you can all hear me now. I'm sorry. It's funny because I was checking to make sure my main lead was in there because I didn't want it to run out of juice, and I forgot that the octopus had to be put in there. I don't know what the real name is for it, but here it is. Oh, Lord, why did I do that? Okay, like I said, I better get off from here. My wife's going to be upset if I don't get in there for supper. She's going to think I overextended. She knows that I'm a talker, and I don't know when to let it go. Part of it came from years ago. I used to put on seminars for a company, and I traveled a lot of different places to do it. And I had fun. I had fun doing it. And you'd kind of write a little speech on an index cards, that, and then you flip through them, and and of course, most of them were filmed because what happens is when you get back, you review them to see if you made a lot of mistakes. The biggest problem with speaking is you have a lot of these things like that in between your sentences because you may have run out of words to say. And when you run out of words, you go, let's see. There's nothing wrong with that. Your mind has to catch up and you just get on with it. That's what you do. So everybody out there, I know I was trying to give you pats on the back before I got off from here. Please do me a favor. Go see Two Leaves in a Pod. 2 Leaves in a Pod. Go see PBR. Go see Gapo, okay, on Legends. That's his channel, Legends. Make sure that you help Michelle and John with prayers, lots of prayers. And don't forget, there is over there on the 2 Leaves in a Pod, there is a fund over there where they're going to be helped out. It's not necessarily a fund, but there is a thing on that's going to be on Amazon. There are Lowe's cards where this stuff is going to go helpfully to put their house together, the interior. You guys, most of you, if you went to Thomas's channel, Thomas Collins, you already seen what that barnuminium looks like. It's a tin building, but it was made to make a house out of, and it does meet the standards of Florida. And the slab is done, and the metal is done. The doors are in, the windows are on it, and now it's time to take care of the interior. So this is something that was started, and of course, a lot of things were slowed down on it, and you already know the hardships they went through to get there. Hopefully, with the Lord's blessings, we can finish this thing out and get it going. Don't forget Super Dave out there. I'm telling you, you got to get in there. He's a breath of fresh air for sure. And yeah, boy, I hope I haven't missed anybody. You know, the Gator Man has his channel of Get Swamped. A couple of days ago, he got called on. He had to go out and catch an alligator, and that's the first time I seen him do that. Now, I haven't been around and watched his channel very much, you know, because I'm getting introduced to all this stuff right now. But he was there, 2 casts of getting his line out there. He had the tail snagged, was able to get that alligator in, and I think it's his son, jumped on his back. Anyway, they were able to contain this thing. It only took them, I don't know, it seemed like a couple of minutes, but I'm sure it was 15, 20 minutes. The whole call didn't take an hour from the time it was called in until he got there to the place to capture this alligator. And it was pretty good size. It was at least 7 feet. Now I'm over 6 feet, so that's a pretty good size alligator. I lived in Louisiana. Alligator that size can take your arm off real quick. So, and this one apparently was somewhat. It wasn't afraid of people because somebody must have been feeding it, which is against the law, by the way. You should never do that. But anyway, that's it. I think hopefully I've got everybody on here mentioned. Go see them. These people have been around longer than I have doing this stuff. They all know the subjects. And when I get enough stuff, I'll come back on here. It was kind of fun. I hope you guys had fun. And here's to you. Love you all. May the Lord bless everybody out there and open your hearts. You'll help somebody else. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Oh, right on. How do I turn this off? That tells you how many of these I've done. Let's get this down to size where I can handle all the. Oh yeah, boy, I had it at 150%. Let's get it down to 100. There we go. There it is. It says end stream. Goodbye, everybody.